All right, so back to our Hall of Fame combo. We had a long one about Bill Belichick yesterday. Now Robert Kraft, per reports, is not expected to be elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2026. There goes the theory out there that Kraft was involved in keeping Belichick
that he was
out.
working the behind-the-angle scene to make sure he got in and Belichick didn't. Mr. Kraft, Robert Kraft doesn't want to do that. He doesn't. He's not looking to do that. I mean, it takes away from the shine and the aura of the Patriots. First ballot. I mean, again, I just look at it and go, this is another hit to the credibility of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I still look at it. And I had a little conversation with this in Florio today, and the one thing I've learned over the last 24 hours is the board of directors has got plenty of people like Roger Goodell and Jerry Jones and other people to where I still go back and go, they should have been a part of the voting meetings and go, wait, guys. The greatest coach in the history of the American sports, the guy where we might put his name on the trophy next to Vince Lombardi.
Right.
We could name the Hall of Fame after him. We're really not going to put him in? It's crazy. So that's a huge blow to their credibility. And then Mr. Kraft on top of that, there's other owners in there, especially Jerry Jones, and I just go, Mr. Kraft needs to be in there. I mean, he's getting up there in age. He's been the best owner in professional sports over the last 30 years. He took a team from the New England Patriots where I know it was before your time.
They were in the basement, though.
But they were every 10 years, there's the Patriots. Oh, the Patriots in the playoffs. This year they got to the AFC Championship game. All right, we'll see you in 12 years again. Right? I mean, that's what they were.
Almost irrelevant.
And now they're
so
a mainstay.
Long. Yeah.
And so not only that, but everybody knows behind the scenes, too, in the NFL, right? Jerry Jones and Robert Kraft are like the de facto commissioners in the NFL. There was always a joke within the league of they have an office in 345 too, right? No decision happens without those two kind of hearing out. They brought the business of the NFL to a totally different level. And, of course, Robert Kraft spearheaded the greatest dynasty we've ever seen in the NFL and made it all happen because of decisions he made, starting with Bill Parcells and getting that coaching tree and getting the organization under his tutelage, which led to Bill Belichick in this run. So the system and how they vote for it is stupid beyond belief. We need to just go to a yay or nay. Stop worrying about special contributors or old guy category or whatever.
Right.
But he deserves to be in there, and it's just another thing you can pile on to go, the Belichick thing's stupid, and now this is stupid too.
It's just showing that the math in the system just really doesn't work. You look at the non-modern era finalists for the Hall of Fame, and once again, voters can only vote for 3 of 5 of these guys. Well, now we know that Belichick and Kraft aren't getting in, and then it's Ken Anderson, Roger Craig, and L.C. Greenwood. But it just seems like a flawed system.
It is.
It's obviously flawed from the get-go when Bill Belichick's not one of the 5 here.
Exactly right.
But then the fact that Kraft, it's putting voters in a bad spot, but also we talked about it, Chris.
Tough.
There is a trust factor, too, with the voters. It goes back to what we discussed yesterday about Gerald McCoy saying that maybe who's actually making the votes doesn't make a ton of sense. I don't know if you go full on it's all people in the Hall of Fame voting, but can you have a hybrid committee?
Yeah.
The more different kind of personalities, the better. But then that's also harder to get everybody on the same page. I'm not going to pretend to know what the perfect solution is. I just know they need to start working towards one.
Yeah, so let's hit on this. First off, like you said, the whole thing's flawed, right? They need to figure this out.
The math doesn't work.
It does not work, right? Who cares about maybe one year there'll be 3 guys going to the Hall of Fame. The next year there's 8 guys. Let's just, who cares? Let's stop trying to figure it all out and do it that way. There's a guy like L.C. Greenwood. I want to sit here and go, how the hell is he not in the Hall of Fame already? That's actually a weird thing and dysfunctional too. You mean a guy that's one of the best defensive linemen in the history of the sport, who was on one of the best defenses in the history of the sport and the great dynasties of the sport, and was part of the all-70s decade team? He's not in the Hall of Fame yet? So there's so many flawed things here. And I think, again, a lot of it goes to a little bit of what you brought up. Yeah, Jared McCoy made a point. There are some voters there where I'd go, he's not really involved in football that much anymore. I don't think he knows his ass from his elbow anymore, but yet he's going to determine someone's life, right? And then there are some that are knowledgeable, right? But I do think that do we have to talk about the committee a little bit and talk about who's voting, how it goes down, the process, all that? Yeah, it's got to be dissected now. It has to be, definitely. Now, with Gerald McCoy, one of the comments he made is players should do it. Hall of Famers should do it.
Hall
whatever.
of Famers, yes.
But what I would go, and there's some of that I agree with, Okay, and here's, if you guys can read it here, we're not going to go word for word, right? Okay, but like hot take, all right, I'm going to read the hot take, but with all the Bill Belichick stuff, thinking about guys like T.O. and A.B., even being a part of the media now, voters of the Hall of Fame should be other Hall of Famers. I don't know why he brings up T.O. or A.B., okay?
That's probably not the...
I don't think those would be the poster childs I would ask for right there.
That's what I was going to say.
Right. Yeah, right. Well, okay, but
we have better. I think we have better examples.
T.O.'s already in the Hall of Fame, so that's gone.
And
right?
A.B. I don't think
like,
will be in.
I don't know. He deserves to be in it.
Statistically.
Right. It's probably going to take a little bit.
Right.
The receivers is a tough spot. I mean, everybody's got big numbers of receivers because there's no rule. I mean, there's no rules. I mean,
right. The game changed.
Yeah, the game changed. But off of Gerald McCoy's point, and just to say this too, there's a lot. I'm going to meet a few Hall of Famers here this week who are going to basically admit to me, like, I've never really seen Seattle play all year. I never saw it.
Just not ingrained
There's
in
not
the game
everybody's
right now.
like that. Just because you were great at playing it doesn't mean you were a student of the game and obsessed with it like everybody else. I could go into a locker room on a Tuesday morning, right, and go in, and I usually did. I'd start a ruckus and start a shit show about the game the night before, or what happened, or a stupid play, or a stupid penalty, right? There was always a faction of the locker room was like, who won? What game was on last night?
They don't live like that.
No, they don't live like that. They went, I went out to dinner with my girlfriend, or I hung out and played Xbox with my friends, or whatever. I didn't watch the game last night.
Right.
They're not obsessed. But then people want to go, well, they play the game. They'll tell you what happened. And I want to go, no. In a locker room, nobody would ask this guy what's going on in the football. Like, nobody. So don't just think that. Don't take that. So that's where, like, I agree with him, where we got to reorchestrate, reconfigure this a little bit. And I do think some Hall of Famers really are obsessed with the game and know it.
Right.
But I do think there's some others that are just like, hey, I was awesome. I played. And I watched the Super Bowl and a few other big games during the year, but I don't really pay attention that much.
That's the hybrid idea for me. Where, like, there are going to be particular Hall of Famers, and I don't know the number. I don't know the number of the 50. It's not 50. I know that.
Yeah.
But there is a number where it's like, this person's qualified, wants to do it, has the ambition to do it, and is good to get a different perspective in our meetings. These meetings are crazy.
Yeah.
These guys are on Zoom for 8 hours, and then they're meeting in person.
Well, that's where it's tough, too. And you bring your guy from your city who you're propping up, and I want Roger Craig, I want Roger Craig. And then it's like, oh, wait, but I have to vote for Roger Craig. And now it's like, uh-oh, I can't vote for one of these other guys. And that's a stupid process there.
So I don't know what the solution is, but there has to be, I think, different perspectives, because the fact that there was enough unified voices that Bill Belichick is not a first ballot Hall of Famer tells you that the perspective in one corner was dry and just wrong.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the wrong. Like, we can make a lot of arguments in football that are subjective, and like you can go through different opinions and perspectives. But like Bill Belichick not being a first ballot Hall of Famer, that's not really a debate. That's just, there was something here that isn't the right process.
Well, that's exactly right. Well, here's a phrase I get a lot from people in the NFL, right? And I said this a little earlier to Florio, and I'm probably going to butcher it because I butcher everything, right? But like, I get this from other people. Like, I can read and write. How come I don't get to vote on the Writers' Hall of Fame? Like, in fact, I read and write better than that writer knows football, but yet he's going to determine who goes in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And I think there's a faction of people in football that sit there and go, I can't believe this guy has a vote, right? He doesn't know his ass from his elbow. Or there's a faction of the voters who actually text people and go, give me your top 5. And they take a census of people they trust that know football. And I just want to go, like, that's cool and all that, but yet, like, I don't know if that should be the process of, like, let me ask the 5 guys I know that I think know the football the best and probably know it better than me, and I'm a voter, but let me ask them, and then I'll do it that way. That's flawed as well. And that's where I think we're talking about the whole thing's got to be reconfigured.
Taco Tom in the chat said, if you're a Hall of Famer, you're a Hall of Famer. This voting stuff is crazy. It's like in baseball with Andrew Jones. How did he not have many votes, then all of a sudden 8 years he's in?
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think it's the like the volatility of it, where it's hard for people that aren't voters like myself to understand the year-to-year process.
And sometimes, like, to a guy like Andrew Jones or other people, L.C. Greenwood, they need somebody sometimes to be at the forefront of the discussion, to publicize it. So sometimes, like we always say, say it out loud. Say it out loud. And you start to hear it and you go, oh, damn, right. Like, how the hell isn't he in the Hall of Fame?
You go through all the accolades and the resume.
So sometimes the public forgets. And then you got to have somebody that can kind of spearhead the political charge to remind everybody, like, hey, this guy did this. This guy, like Simeon Rice, he's one of those guys that I played for that deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, right? You start to look at his stats and the amount of sacks he had in a short period of time and all that, and you go, that's some of the best pass rusher stuff in the history of football. People don't think about it. So the Glazers, few of the writers down there in Tampa, they're in the midst right now of starting to pub that up again. They go, wait, you guys forget how awesome he was? It's one of the best defenses ever, and he was our best pass rusher. Like, we forgot. And that's where that, again, the whole thing is a little bit odd, and we got to figure it out. Yo, thanks for watching, homies. We are now in the NFL season here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Hit subscribe to get our weekly picks, game recaps, film deep dives, and much, much more.
Thanks again for watching. Subscribe, rate, review. Peace out. You know where to find us.